here. You can start.
Okay. So, good morning, everybody, from wherever you are joining us. This is the voice of teacher biochemist Emmanuel Ndubisi, the designer of this program. So, I lead the LearnVerse Tutorium team, a company that is into learning design, educational consulting in the area of learning design. We design learning of all kinds. We do a lot of learners empowerment program, and this is one of them. So the goal of this particular program is to ensure that learners understand the secret of scoring very high, at least 300 in their JAMB exam, and apply the same strategy for their post UTME exam, which some universities organize, and ensure that they gain admission with little stress. So you don't need to stress yourself so much to score very high in JAMB and in post-JAMB exams, irrespective of the school that is conducting it. It's the same strategy. So we are going to be having this program from now till the 27th of March 2027. So that will give us 33 lessons. In these 33 lessons, we are going to cover everything we need to cover as far as the syllabus of JAMB is concerned, and share every secret that needs to be known before you go into the exam hall, so that when you write the exam, you score at least 300. If you follow the instructions that you receive from these sessions 100%, you will score 300 and above. But if you follow 90 and leave 10, then you are reducing your score. Just follow the instruction and you will score 300 and above. So that is what this program is in summary. But we are focusing in our classes on the sciences. Even though today I'm going to touch on all the subject of JAMB, I'll touch all of them. But subsequent classes will be focusing more on the science subject: chemistry, physics, biology, maths, then English. So even if you're an art student, you come for the English lessons, and from the English, you apply what you have learned in English in all your subjects. So even though it's mainly for the science student, the English at least connects everybody. So try and always be there. Please, we start by 8:30 a.m. every Saturday and close by 10:30 a.m. 2 hours. Because it's not how long that makes a class successful, it's how well. So in 2 hours, we can actually cover a lot. We go around the syllabus, and we'll do that more than once before you write the exam. Okay, having said that, we move. Today is our lesson 1 of 33. So, second slide, please. So in our second slide, you see that what we have is the study approach for scoring 300 plus in UTME. UTME is the name of the exam, Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. But the body that conducts the exam is JAMB. JAMB means Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board. So JAMB is not an exam. The exam is UTME. JAMB is just the body, but we call it JAMB exam, just the common name that people know it with. Now, why did they call it UTME? Before it became UTME, we used to have 2 sets of exams for entering the tertiary institution. There is an exam for universities. That one is called UME. UME. Then there is an exam for monotechnics, polytechnics, and colleges of education. That one is called MPCME. They used to write it separately on separate dates, and the subject combination is not the same. But they now discover that there is no need to separate, let everybody write the same. Then we use the score to place people in their various institutions. That's the way it became UTM. Okay, so that's number one. Number two information is that UTME is not an achievement test, it's a placement test. So I'm going to quickly explain the difference between achievement test and placement test. Now, when you are writing a test to show how much you have understood in a particular lesson or subject or course, that is achievement. So we can grade it. We can say, okay, this person has achieved it to level A. That's, we call it grade A. This other person achieved to grade B. This other person grade C, grade B, and so on. That's, you have graded it. That is achievement. But in the case of placement, all the people that achieve from minimum to above, okay, minimum and above, like maybe the minimum grade for you to say you have achieved something is grade C. That's what we use in Nigeria, credit. So all the people from C and above, C, B, A, we bring all of them together to now select among them the ones that we feel are suitable to study that discipline they've mentioned they want to study. The fact that somebody made grade A in biology and grade A in chemistry does not automatically mean that that person is fit to study medicine. The person may not be designed for medicine, may be designed for something else. So by the time we do the placement test, we will find out if the person is designed for medicine. So how do we find out? We will let them write exams, subjects that relate to that discipline they want to go and study in the university. So based on the speed and accuracy, you see the word I'm mentioning now, speed and accuracy with which they attempted the questions, it will now show us that, oh, this person is better for medicine than this person. The one that is not better for medicine, they will now offer the person another admission and say, okay, your score is good, but you are not suitable for medicine. Can you go for biochemistry or food science and technology or biology education? They give you a lot of options. You will now apply. So that's placement. So I want us to understand placement. So UTME is an example of a placement test. Never you prepare for it as an achievement test. If you do that, you will end up, either you score average. Average is from 180 to 200. You score average, or you will even score below average if you do that. And when the result comes out, you see a lot of people come online. It happened last year. Some children wanted to commit suicide and all that. They come online and start saying, JAMB is nonsense. After all the study, I scored 160. It's rubbish. Some will even put evidence of when they were studying, the timetable they use and all that. No, JAMB is not rubbish. JAMB is placement test. And these people were preparing for JAMB with the mindset they use in writing WAEC. Like last year, we saw a child who has A1 parallel. Like all the subjects registered for WAEC, A1. But when the child wrote JAMB, the child scored below 150. Below 150. How do you explain that? The only explanation is the child used the strategy for writing achievement test, WAEC, which is the only exam that child has been exposed to write UTME. And it didn't go well. When I saw some people I said the child is even lucky to score up to 150. That he would have scored less than 100. Okay, so you need to know that it is a placement test. Other examples of placement tests includes SAT, the one they use in getting an admission into American and Canadian universities. SAT, SAT. It's a placement test. Let me give you another one in Nigeria. There's one we call common entrance. We use it to gain admission into Unity, federal schools in the country or state schools. That's a placement test. It's not an achievement test. So if you know this, it will help you. Now, how do we score placement test and achievement test? How do we score them? We score achievement test by simply looking at the accuracy of the answer. The accuracy. Is the person using the right word? Is the person spelling correctly? That's what we check. But how do we score placement tests? We score placement tests by checking for accuracy of, there's number of, let me use the word, number of correct answer and time taken to achieve it. That's what we use. So we call it the scaling method of scoring. So some of you say that, I will call it negative marking for the sake of calling, but it is not really negative marking. It is scaling marking. They scale it. Now let's give an illustration. In a chemistry exam, okay, let me use English. In an English exam, we have 60 questions. We have 60 question, jump question 60. Now let's assume candidate A and candidate B want to compare two of them. Candidate A did not finish before the time clocked out. That means he was not a fast person, but he was able to answer 50 questions and the system clocked him out and submitted. So he answered only 50 questions. And all the 50 questions, he got all of them. He didn't fail one. That means he got 50 out of 60. Okay? 50 out of what? 60. Then candidate B, out of 60 questions, candidate B is a girl. Candidate B has speed. She was able to finish the whole 60 questions and she submitted by herself. In fact, she finished 20 minutes to the end of time. Now, when we now check, we now saw that candidate B got 50 correctly and failed 10. Candidate A answered 50 and got the entire 50, didn't fail anyone. Candidate B got 50 and failed 10. Do you understand? So now, by percentage, what is 50 over 60 by percentage? If you do that calculation, 50 over 60 by percentage should be roughly, how many are we going to call it? $50 over 60, let's do the calculation. Okay, a moment. I hope you are following me. So let's do the calculation. 50 divided by 60. What did we get? $50 divided by 60. In percentage is 83%. 83%. Okay? 83%. Hello, can you hear me, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I was illustrating something. I hope you are writing it down. I hope you are writing it down. I said candidate A answered 50 questions. He didn't finish, and the team submitted him. Okay. Then candidate B, out of 60,
Please,
answered.
which slide are you on?
I'm still on the second slide. Please just remain there.
Okay. You can still see it, right?
I'm not even looking at it. Oh.
Okay, because I switched to my laptop.
Yes, I can see it. It's showing. Go to slide. That place. That's where it is.
All right.
It's clear. Okay. So I was illustrating. I said candidate A answered only 50 questions and could not finish out of 60 questions. Like English exam, 60 questions. Then candidate B answered the whole 60. Complete. He answered everything and submitted 20 minutes to the end of exam. Okay? Answered the whole 60, submitted 20 minutes for exam. So he got the same 50 correctly, but he failed 10. I mean, she failed 10. Are you following? Now, when the result will come out for English, do you think that both of them will get the same score? Abdulrahman, do you think that both of them will get the same score when the result comes out?
No.
They can't get the same score. The candidate B that failed 10, that 10 that was failed, there's an algorithm that scored these questions. That 10 that the person failed, it will be scaled down. We call it downscaling. It will be scaled down out of the 83 that she has already gotten correctly. So scaling it down can make this score that is supposed to be 83% to become something like 63%. Are you following?
Yes.
Can become 63, can become 73, depending on how they have programmed it, because they program it differently every year. Are you getting it? So, but this person that got the whole 50 without failing one, the person's score will come out as 83%, no scaling down. So the person will score higher than the one that answered the whole 60 and failed 10. So in other words, what am I trying to teach you here? When you are attempting an achievement test, accuracy is more important than speed, but two of them are good. Two of them are desirable. But accuracy of answer is more important than the speed with which you get the answer, because you can use speed and go and get the wrong answer. So on that day, I'm sure that before we finish this program, you must have been ready to the point of being able to get, out of 40 questions, being able to get at least 39 over 40. If you can get 39 out of 40, your score is going to be close to 100, 98% or 95, around that range. But if you get something like 30 out of 40, it will bring your score down. They will not give you your score for the 30 you got, which is supposed to be, if it's a 40 question exam, somebody that got 30 out of 40 is 75%. They will not give the person 75. The score will scale down and you will be seeing something like 55 or 58. This is what JAMB does. If you don't know it. I have told you. Don't go and bother yourself to ask them. If you ask JAMB, they will tell you nothing like that. The one you get will give you. That's what they will tell you. But I'm telling you, this is what they do. After they've done this, they will now use a catchment area and start saying, oh, people from the north, they have a catchment here. They will get this. Their own cutoff mark will be different. That one is another issue. So in order not to put yourself in that difficult situation, what should you do? Prepare for your UTME very well and score very high so that you will get admission by merit. So that's the essence of my program. I don't want you to be looking for catchment area admission. Look for merit admission. So do you understand the difference between placement test and achievement test? Is it clear, Abdulrahman?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now let's move. Please, we are still on the slide. Don't take it out of there. Okay. Now, What are the study approach for scoring 300 plus in JAMB? Anyone that is written in red is not the study approach. So the study approach written in red and cancelled is passive study. It limits your assimilation. This is what many of us do. What is passive study? Passive study means as you are studying your material, maybe your textbook, or you are listening like this class now. After the class, maybe we'll give you the recorded version of it. You play it again. You want to understand what happened in the class. So as you are listening, you have a notebook where you write down bullet points. You are not writing word for word what you are hearing. No. If you are writing word for word what you are hearing, then you are not doing active study. You are still doing passive study. So you take your notebook, you write down bullet point. Bullet means keywords from what has been said, or from what you have read, or from the lesson you attended. You write them down. When you finish writing them down, you create acronyms, quick words that can link everything you've learned. For example, in biology, there's a topic called circulatory system. So as I'm studying about the heart, the circulation of blood in the body, I was able to get a word to remember everything I've read. And what is that word? LORD, Lord. What does Lord mean? L for left, O for oxygenated, R for right, D for deoxygenated. So what does that mean? Left oxygenated. The left side of the heart pumps oxygenated blood. R for right. The right side of the heart pumps deoxygenated blood. So Lord means left oxygenated, right deoxygenated. So it's a way for me to remember everything about circulation of blood. When they ask me the question like this, I'll just remember it. Okay, I've read this thing and I was able to summarize it this way. Okay, so that is active study. You must use it for JAMB. If you don't use it, you will be confused. So active study is the way to go. Never you study anything without writing down, without putting bullet points down. Whether you are listening or participating in the class or reading a textbook, get your notebook and summarize. Write down bullet points. That's active study. It empowers and produces deep learning. Okay? Then the next strategy is 33 weeks study plan. 33 weeks study plan. In this 33-week study plan, you are going to divide it into 4 phases. Okay? Phase 1 is 10 weeks. Phase 2 is another 10 weeks. Phase 3 is another 10 weeks. Then phase 4 is 3 weeks. So how does it work? Phase 1, break down the syllabus of JAMB. All of you have the syllabus. As you are registering for JAMB, you can even go to their website and download it. All those topics, all the topics they write, that is contained in the JAMB syllabus. Go to the place they wrote notes. Notes means what are the things they want you to learn. That is what JAMB will be asking you. Don't bother yourself about other things. So go to the place they wrote down notes. Pick all those words or statements. Those are the things you should study. Then divide them.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, please, what do you call the phase 1?
I said divide your 33 weeks study plan into 4 phases. Okay? So yes. Phase 1, 10 weeks. That's the first 10 weeks. Week 1 to week 10. Are you getting it? Yes. Week 1 to week 10. So let's assume that we have started week 1 now. Okay?
Okay.
Phase 2, week 11 to week 20. Week 11 to week 20. Okay. Phase 3, week 21 to week 30. Okay? Then phase 4, week 31 to week 33. These are the 4 phases. So you are writing 4 subjects in your JAMB. It's 4 subjects you are taking. English is compulsory for everybody. So let me use your own to illustrate now. What are your subjects? List them. Let me hear.
Physics, chemistry, English, biology.
Good. So you are going to draw a table, like a chart, okay? And you draw a chart. So in that your chart, you will put week somewhere, maybe week on the left, okay, on the left column. Then you will now write at the horizontal columns to the right, you now write your subject, English, biology, physics, chemistry. You've written them down. Then
Okay.
you will now break down all this week in your chart. Week 1, week 2, week. You know that from week 1 to week 10 is your phase 1. You already know now. You will now pick your contents of the syllabus. You have seen all the contents. Let's assume that you count everything and you are getting let's say 100 content. You count everything. The number of things they want you to study is 100. Divide 100 by 30. You know, it's 30 weeks from phase 1 to phase 2 is 30 weeks. So divide 100 by 30. It means each week we get like 33 topics. Okay? Because 33 times 3 is 99. So one of the week will get 34. So what do? You will now take one part of that thing you have divided, spread it in your phase 1, okay, in 10 weeks. Spread it out. Take the next one, spread it in sorry, I'm mixing it up. From week 1 to week 10, spread the 100, everything. Everything that you have seen, spread them out to make sure that you cover them from week 1 to week 10 of that phase 1. Do the same for English, do the same for chemistry, do the same for physics. All the topics, spread them out into the 10 weeks. Okay? Are you getting me now?
Yes.
Now, when you have finished phase 1, it means you have covered the syllabus in phase 1. You come to phase 2, you repeat that process again. Because they have the same number of weeks. Repeat that process. Don't assume that you have known it. Repeat it again. When you come to phase 3, repeat it again. Once you have gone through the syllabus 3 consecutive times, you become a master. You have known all the corners where their question is coming from. Whether they repeat past question or they don't repeat, you are ready for the exam. Okay? Then your phase 4, which is just 3 weeks, is revision phase. It's revision. What will you be doing in phase 4? In phase 4, you will now start putting together those things you have studied. You put them together into bullet points, into acronym. You create acronym that will make you remember everything you have read. Like as I told you one acronym, you heard it from me now. Lord, So you can create maybe 10 acronyms to remember everything you have read. When you say an acronym, it can link you to many topics. It can link you to many topics in that subject. Physics, you need your formulas. But, you need your principle. In physics, please, it's not formula, it's principle. So, as you are studying for physics, pick out all the principles. There are not many. The principle may be like 20. Everything in physics may just be 20 principles. Then each principle is divided or derivable into formulas. A principle can give you 100 formulas. So if you memorize a formula and they twist the question and you forget the formula, you will fail that question. But if you know the principle and they twist the question and you have forgotten the formula, once you state the principle on paper, it will lead you to the formula. Do you understand me? So that's what you are going to do. And then before you know it, you have the study site, the study plan has been covered. Okay? The study plan has been what? Covered. We are done with that. Now let's go to the exam taking strategies. Now, for the exam taking strategies, we have a CBT program we have designed. We have our own CBT. We are not using the one that is out there in the market. So you make sure you subscribe to it. Okay, we are going to roll out the subscription link very soon. So you make sure you subscribe to it. Now, how do we design our CBT? I will talk about it later. But basically, what you do there is we have 25 years of JAMB question. And each question, you are going to attempt it twice. That means you are going to do 50 CBT tests. And when you finish, you see your analysis and corrections, okay? But I'm not talking about it now. Now, how do you take JAMB exam so that when you are doing your practice, you follow? Every day, make sure you practice your papers. Every day, practice at least one year, okay? If you have the paper on, the one that is with you, be practicing that one until it's time for you to go to CBT, okay? Now, the first method of answering JAMB question is elimination method. Do you know when you use elimination? Do you know that it is possible that you see a question and you have not encountered that question before? It's totally strange. You have not seen it before. You have not read about it before. But you just have a small idea of what they just name one word there. Small idea. But 90% of what is in the question, you have not seen it before. So what do? You use the elimination method. When you see such a question, leave it. Go and answer the ones you know. Answer them, then you come back. Now, when you come back to it, don't guess. Use elimination. How do you eliminate? You eliminate by concept. The concept, the keyword in the question, you have seen it. You use that keyword now to now start looking at the options. Which option here connects to this keyword? Or which one does not connect to this keyword? You understand? If you have 4 options and 3 are connected, 1 is not connected, that's the answer. If you have 4 options and only 1 is connected, 3 are not connected, that one that is connected is the answer. That's the elimination method. Are you getting it? That's elimination. The next one is association method. Associate. In association method, they will give you a familiar concept. Like you have seen that concept before, familiar. But the options are unfamiliar. So what do? You look at the options individually, like you break them down into their root word. You know, there's what we call root word in English. This one works very well in art subject like English literature. So you break down that word into the root word. Like, let me give you an example. If I write something like malodorous as a word, malodorous, malodorous. That's a word that looks strange. We can break it down. There are 3 parts of that word. The first part is mal. The second part is odor. The third part is ros. Mal, odor, ros. So what's the key? What's the root in that word? What's the nucleus? The nucleus is odor. So what does odor have to do with? Smell. Then you now associate it with the word in the question. It gives you the answer. It gives you the answer. Okay? Then we have another one, root word analysis. We use root word analysis in English also and biology because they have concepts, too many concepts, especially biology. So when they give you a word you have never seen in your life, for example, if I say erythrogenesis, you may not have seen it before, but you have seen erythro. Erythro refers to the red blood cell because red blood cell is called erythrocyte. So you know that it has to do with the red blood cell. Then genesis has to do with origin, source, production. So erythrogenesis we have to do with what? production of red blood cell. So I may come now, they say, which of the following organ is responsible for erythrogenesis? You say, they've not taught me this. Just break it down. So erythrogenesis means production of red blood cell. So which organ is associated with production of red blood cell? You now start looking at your options. And then you see the answer. So that is what? Root word analysis. These things I'm telling you, you will not see them in textbook. This is based on my 25 years experience as a teacher. Next one, most probable option. Most probable option happens in calculations, like in math, in physics. Two of them, chemistry sometime. Now, you can use the accurate formula. You are very sure. You try it 10 times. You get an answer. But the answer is not in the option. Let me give you an example now. Maybe you calculate and you get 2.5 as your answer. 2.5. Then in your option A, you have 0.5. Option B, you have 1.9. Option C, you have 2.1. Option D, you have 2.46. No, let me don't say 2.46. You have 2.6. Okay, 2.6. But your calculation, no approximation, no, you got 2.5. It simply shows that the most probable answer is option D, 2.6. You go for it. And again, there are some questions, let me tell you now, that don't have answer. Sometimes JAMB intentionally include it. One particular question, no answer. It's a penalty kick. If you play it, your score will go down. So when you are able to detect, like this kind of question now, if the answer is 2.5 after the real calculation, no mistake, and all the options I'm seeing 0.5, 1.9, 0.25, then 10. It means that there is no answer. Leave it. Leave it. Don't guess anything and go and submit. Do you understand? That is what I mean by what? Most probable option. Then the last exam taking strategy is concepts in codes. I think I've talked about this. When you are finished studying, you summarize what you have studied in code so that you remember. The code may not make sense to another person, but you that wrote the code, you know what it means. Like in biology, I have a code. I've told you one, Lord. Another one, HipMath. What does HipMath mean? These stages of mitosis, cell division. I for interphase, P for prophase, M for metaphase, A for anaphase, T for telophase. HipMath. Then equal to RUSESD. So R is replication. So during interphase, replication is happening. S is spindle. During prophase, spindle is formed. E is equator. During metaphase, chromosomes arrange themselves on the equator. S is separation. The second S, separation. During anaphase, the chromatids separate. Then D is division. During telophase, the cell divides. The nucleus will divide first, followed by the cytoplasm. That's all. I've remembered it. It helps me. In English, I have it for adjectives. If you have a list of adjectives and you don't know what to start with. Sishakomapa. Sishakomapa. It sounds crazy, but it's making sense. C is size. So size is an adjective. So the size we come first. Sha is shape. The shape we follow. Ko is color. The color follows. Ma is material. Which material is it made of? Is it made of plastic or wood or nylon, whatever? Pa is participle. Which participle is before the noun? Then finally, the noun will now appear. So you should develop concept codes. You will see that when you develop them, there will not be many. It may just be 10, only 10 or 12. And it makes your study directed and easier. So that is what we have for study approach for scoring 300 plus in UTME? Any question on that before we go to the next slide? Any question? Okay, so let's continue to the next slide. Let's continue to the next slide. So, in the next slide, we look at evaluation strategy. Evaluation strategy. What are the methods of assessing what we have learned? That's the meaning of evaluation. Testing, to test, to check. There are 3 methods that we know globally: formative assessment, summative assessment, and self-assessment. So we have formative assessment, summative assessment, and self-assessment. Now, what is formative assessment? What does it mean? Formative assessment is the checking you do to yourself, or which a teacher gives to you in the process of learning, in the middle of learning. That is formative assessment. So, for example, now, if somebody has classwork is formative assessment. Okay? If they teach you and say, okay, solve this question, that is formative. They are monitoring you within the lesson. Then, in the case of summative, they have to wait until we cover a chunk of the program or the entire program. Like when you have covered the syllabus complete, you do your self-exam on the one you have covered. That is summative. It's summing up what you have learned. Then the last one is self-assessment. Self-assessment. This is the most important assessment. You can see the weight I give them for you. In your strategy, make your self-assessment to have the highest weight. 50% of the total assessment should be self. So how do you do self-assessment? As you are studying, you should be setting question. Each topic you study, set your own. Don't set Jambon. You know the way Jambon sound. Set your own for yourself. You read a topic. For example, now you read acid, base, and salt. You have read acid. You now set question. Which of the following best describes an acid? Option A, you write an option. Option B, right. Option C, right. Option D, right. And make your own very hard. Make it harder than JAMB, but the same standard, the same content. It will make you, if you can set hard question for yourself and you know the answer, when you see easier question, you'll be able to do what? To tackle them. So that is self-assessment. One of the reasons why many students don't do well in both achievement tests and placement tests is that they neglect self-assessment. They neglect it. They pay attention to formative, the one the teacher gives them in class, classwork, assignment, and the summative, the test they write in school, the end of term exam, and maybe WAEC. So if you had A1 parallel in this WAEC you wrote, please hide it under the cupboard now and face JAMB. It's a different exam. Okay? So what's the conclusion of this evaluation strategy? Your self-assessment is the most important assessment. It should have more weight than the other assessment. So always do it for yourself. As you read each topic, set question. You can just set one question or two, one or two. So at the end of the whole topics you have read, you would have succeeded in setting up to 100 or more questions. Then you see that your own question is even harder than JAMB. And when you go and write JAMB, it's easier. You will pass. You score higher. So this is evaluation strategy. I believe it is clear enough. So we move to the next slide, please. The next slide, please. So our next slide is, we want to start looking at different subjects that they write in JAMB. Different subjects and how to approach them. So the first one is English. Use of English, sorry, not English. There's a difference between use of English and English language. English language is WAEC. But use of English is JAMB. And use of English is more about communication. How do you use English to communicate? How do you apply English in solving problems? That's what use of English is about. So it's not the same. Don't use the mindset of WAEC to come and write JAMB. They are not the same. So JAMB has three aspects. Everything in JAMB use of English can be grouped into three. The first one is comprehension. Comprehension. So comprehension, which you did in WAEC, includes comprehension passages and summary. Okay, but in JAMB, it includes passages. Passages will be given to you, and then you provide answers based on what you have read in the passage. Now, passages will be given to you, and then a textbook, in an approved text from JAMB. Every year they have a text. We've not seen 2027 on yet, so we'll see it soon. So once we see it, we'll guide you accordingly. So there will be a question from that text, and then there will be questions from the comprehension passage. Most time now they give only one or two comprehension passages. Now, comprehension simply means understanding. That's what it means. And I always tell my students that how do you show that you understand a lesson when the lesson, you are not able to use your own words to express what you have read? How do you show that? You have to be able to use your words. For example, if they say, Kemi is a beautiful and hardworking girl, and they want me to write it as a comprehension question in my own words, what will I do? I will say, she is a pretty and diligent girl. I've said the same thing. Okay, so that is understanding. You must show understanding. Don't use word for word. Now, in use of English, they have three basic or common types of questions. The first one is called direct or literal questions. Literal means they will just ask you something that the answer is obvious in the passage. But they don't easily do it. Out of 10 questions, they just ask one from there. That's literal question. But the tougher ones are the ones I'm going into now. The second group of questions is inferential questions. Inference. Inferential. Inferential. So inference has to do with drawing conclusions, making deductions from something you have read. So the thing may not be stated obviously, but it is implied. It is implied in the message. For example, if I come to you and say, if you people are 10 and one person among you, only one person is fair in complexion, I now say, let the one who is fair dip his hand in this cup. It's obvious who I'm referring to, but I did it by inferential way. I didn't call the person's name. So you should be able to answer inferential question. It can come like, suggest a suitable title for the passage. So the suitable title will come from number one, the topic sentence. What did they say first in the passage? Then the concluding sentence, you will combine topic sentence, concluding sentence, and repetitive concept or message. What is repeated severally in the passage, connected to the topic sentence and the concluding sentence. That is how you get your title, a suitable title to the passage. Then another kind of comprehension question is evaluative question. You are evaluating the passage. You are doing a kind of judgment. You are passing a judgment on the passage. They might tell you, based on the passage, it is obvious that the author is a dash. If somebody is writing about how to plant seed, how to harvest, it means that the author is a farmer. Or they want to evaluate what the author did. What the author did, is it proper? Is it correct? That's an evaluation. So they can ask that kind of question. Then the one that is the hardest, they hardly bring it, is poetic comprehension. A comprehension that is poetry. They will just go and bring a poetry passage, like poem and all that, and ask you question on that. Okay? So that is comprehension. Now, lexis and structure has to do with grammar. Grammar. The rules of grammar. Is a use of yes. Oral English. Well, yes. So then the weight of the question is on comprehension, followed by lexis and structure, then oral form. Then we'll come to the next slide. That's biology. In biology, everything in the syllabus can be divided into 8. Please, this presentation is important. Everybody should ensure you go through it, because everything we are going to be doing, our lessons, everything will be based on this. So that you don't come and be asking us, what do you mean by this? That's what I'm explaining now. So unity of life is the first in biology. So every topic that has to do with the cell, because cell is what is common to all living things. Every topic that has to do with the cell and characteristics of living things is under the unity of life. It's under the unity of life, and it has weight in the exam. The second heavy part of the exam is diversity of life. Every topic that has to do with classification into groups, characteristic of each group of living organism, identification of group of organism, is diversity of life. Also pay attention to it. Then forms and function is the next one. Forms and function has to do with the activities of the structures in the body of living things. The activities of the structures in the body of what? Living things. Okay? That is what form and function have to do with. Please, we are in biology now. Move the slide. So, activities. So, every function is determined by a structure. Form is structure. Function is action. So, structure determines function. So, when you are writing the exam, if they ask you a question on function, if they state a function in the question, then you are looking for the structure behind. So, in your option, you'll be looking for the option that contains the structure. If they mention structure in your question, they are looking for the function associated with that structure. So, 2 answers can be correct, but the most correct is the one that aligns structure and function. So, as a way to make your work easier here, the systems that are found in living things, study them very well. So, in my biology textbook, I took my time to analyze all the systems found in living things. Okay? So you do well to get a copy of that textbook. Details will be shared later. Now, the next one is genetics. Genetics has to do with heredity and variation. So genetics is equal to heredity plus variation. Heredity has to do with passing character from parents to offspring. That's what it is. Why variation have to do with differences between individuals of the same species. So you have a family, you come from a family, you have siblings, all of you are from the same parents, but there is variation among you. That's what we mean by variation. So the reasons for variation, why do we have variation? You should know them. Then the classification of variation. Then the next one is evolution. Every topic that has to do with origin of species. Please, evolution is not origin of life. It's origin of species. It means the gradual change in a species that results in new species. That's evolution. So everything that has to do with why do we have differences of species, like dogs now, we have different dogs. It's because of evolution. So you have to look at the theories of evolution, the evidence in support of evolution, and the consequence of evolution, which is adaptation. So all the topics on adaptation will be treated under evolution. Then the next one is ecology. Ecology is also called environmental biology. Biology of the environment. Very important. So the interaction between living things and their what? Surrounding. That's ecology. So all the topics that have to do with interaction between living things and their environment is ecology. Topics like competition, food, disease, habitat, they are there. Then the next is analytical biology. In analytical biology, they bring a question on graph. They plot a graph or chart or a picture or an experiment, and they ask you a question on them. That is analytical. You're analyzing a data or a scenario or a case to get your answer. Then you now have biology applications such as genetic engineering, biotechnology, and other areas where biology is applied. So that is the syllabus of biology at a glance. If you can make sure that everything you are studying, you organize your notes into this, you are good. You will get a high score, if not 100%. Okay? Last year, my student got 99% physics, another one 98% chemistry. I scolded them. I said, why didn't you get 100? I'm looking for 100%. So I believe you're set. Many of you will get 100 for me across different subjects. Okay? Now, JAM mathematics. So JAM mathematics, we can group them into 7 areas. We have numeration, that's numbers. Everything about number is under numeration. Everything, fraction, decimal, percentage, proportion, sets, arithmetic progression, they are all under number. So that is numeration. Just learn the principle. What's the principle behind what you are solving? Know it. Know the principle more than the formula. So that in case you forget formula, you remember principle, you will get it. Then the next is algebra. Algebra. Algebra has to do with solving unknowns using alphabet. Use of alphabet to represent problems and solving for them. So all those quadratic equation, linear equation, they are all under algebra. Graph. Geometry. Geometry have to do with shapes, both the properties of the shape, the area of shape, the volume of shape, perimeter of shape. That is geometry. Then trigonometry have to do with angle, side, relationship between angles and sides. So your SOHCAHTOA, you should know it. Pythagoras theorem, sine rule, cosine rule, angle of depression, angle of elevation, bearing, longitude and latitude. They are under trigonometry. Calculus. Calculus is further maths. Okay, so but there is basic calculus. They are not taking you too far. The calculus we are doing in JAMB is just differentiation, basic differentiation and integration. That's all. We don't go beyond that and limit basic differentiation and basic integration. Then application of differentiation and integration. That's what we do there. Then statistics, normal statistics that you know, calculating the mean, the variance, the standard deviation. Then sometime the mean median mode. What will change when you increase a number or something? That's just what they do more of descriptive statistics than a little bit of inferential statistics. Or your cumulative frequency curve and all that. Then probability, of course, you know probability, especially experimental probability. Please, that's the one that you should go and learn very well. When you roll a die, roll a coin, toss a coin, all those kind of things. What's the probability? You should be able to do your calculation, mutually exclusive event, independent event, and so on. So that is JAMB mathematics. Now let's go to JAMB chemistry. JAMB chemistry. This is very important for us here. Don't joke with this presentation. Watch it over and over and over again. So we are now in chemistry. You can move the slide to chemistry. Now in chemistry as wide and broad as it is, we just group everything into 5. So it makes your work easier. We have organic chemistry, everything that has to do with natural products, alkanes, alkynes, alkenes, arachidonic acid, alkanols, esters, amines. They are under organic chemistry. But the fundamental thing in organic chemistry is the chemistry of carbon. You have to understand carbon. If you don't understand carbon, you'll be struggling with the topic. Then after understanding carbon, you understand functional group. Carbon and functional group. I beg you in the name of God, these two. Then finally, understand hybridization. Once you understand chemistry of carbon, functional group, and hybridization, organic chemistry is settled. And organic chemistry has the highest number of questions in every chemistry exam. So this is the reason why we should take it seriously. Then we move to inorganic chemistry. Inorganic chemistry is the chemistry of the elements apart from carbon. The elements apart from carbon. They are chemistry. So most of them are in the periodic table, like metals and their compounds, non-metals and their compounds. So metals and their compounds, non-metals and their compounds, acid, bases, and salts. These topics fall under where? Inorganic chemistry. So, there is a lot of story in this topic. How do you make your work easier? Diagrams. What are the diagrams? Learn the diagrams. So use a diagrammatic approach to learn it. And your periodic table. Then you are good to go. Then physical chemistry. Physical chemistry is the principle or law aspect of chemistry. This is where you do mathematics. This is where they do calculations. So what do you have here? You have rate of reaction. You have chemical equilibrium. You have energy of reaction. Rate of reaction, chemical equilibrium, energy of reaction. These three. Exothermic, endothermic. Factors that determine position of equilibrium. Factors that affect rate of reaction. You have to know them. The order of reaction. How to calculate order of reaction. Then we now have analytical chemistry. Just like analytical biology. Here, we are dealing with the experimental part of chemistry. Qualitative analysis, where they test for ions, cations, anions, and functional group. You have to know the test. Then, you have to know how to interpret an experimental data. They can give it to you and tell you to interpret. So you have to do a calculation and interpret. Or a graph. That's analytical chemistry. Then, chemistry application. This one, the questions are not usually more than 1 or 2. So they can ask you a question from nanotechnology or industrial chemistry or nuclear chemistry. Any of them, that is chemistry applications. Okay? Then we go to JAMB physics. We are going straight to JAMB physics. Please move the slide to JAMB physics. JAM Physics. JAM Physics. Move the slides to JAM Physics. Move the slides to JAM Physics. Move the slides to JAM Physics. That is where we are going now. Okay? So let's continue. So for JAM Physics, we have the following areas. Mechanics, which have to do with all the laws of motion, force, work, energy, and power, all those things. That's mechanics, which is the major part of the question. Then we have thermal physics, which have to do with temperature, heat, measurement, conductors. Waves, which have to do with sound, light, electromagnetic wave, and so on. Electricity, both direct current and alternating current. So you look at Ohm's law. Ohm's law. Then look at the conductors that don't obey Ohm's law. Then that leads us to modern physics, where we do electronics and atomic physics. Then analytical physics is when they give us an experimental data and ask us to analyze. So that is what you have in physics. It's straightforward. But as you are studying your physics, please pay attention to principle. Then, let me now treat other subjects, because I know art students will be feeling bad that we don't have provision for them. But you can see that I have provision for art students right here. So, art students and management students, we have economics. Economics is just 3 parts. All the topics of economics, they are into 3 parts. We have macroeconomic. Macroeconomic have to do with looking at the whole, economics of the whole, like the whole system, the whole nation. Like when you talk of GDP is under macroeconomics. So most of our leaders in Nigeria, they always tell us they are doing well. And when you confront them, they use GDP to silence you. Truly, they are doing well macroeconomically. But macroeconomics does not touch the life of the common man. So the individual, the units that make up the whole, is microeconomics. Like purchasing power. That money you are earning, what can it buy? That's microeconomics. Okay, so topics under money is microeconomics. Okay, employment, micro, but GDP is macro. Taxation, macro. Then developmental economics has to do with all this exportation, export, import, balance of trade, that's what it has to do with. So you need to organize your topics as you are studying. And economics is one sweet subject that if you know what you are doing, you will score even 100 over 100. Then for government, we have political, government is about politics. And politics is not a bad word. Forget about people that use it wrongly. Politics simply means power, the use of power, how power is used, the study of how to use power, study of how to get power and how to use it. That's what politics is. That's what politics means. And the people that coined the word politicos are Greeks, and they understood it to mean distribution of power so that everybody will enjoy it. So what are the political concepts? You need to know them. Okay, all those democracy, what's the other one? Feudalism, communism. You need to know what they mean. Those fundamental concepts, because you can't escape them in exam. They bring them all the year. Then political history. What happened in Nigeria? The different constitutional development. Look at them. What are their advantages and disadvantages? Political parties in Nigeria. The military coup, all those things. What led to them? The civil war. but with focus on the political aspect. Don't look at any other aspect, please. Don't look at economic aspect, face political aspect. That's what you do in government. If they put economic aspect as an answer, the correct answer is a political one. Don't forget. Then you have public administration, how the country is governed. The Federal Executive Council, what's the structure? The local government, the state government, look at it. Then international relations. Okay, international politics like United Nations, World War, international organizations. What's the structure? What's their function? Then what are the limits of their function? Then the next one is literature. In the next slide, literature. Literature has to do with, first of all, genres. What are the genres of literature? I represent them by PPD. P for prose, the second P for poetry, and D for drama. So prose has to do with novel. Okay, novel, all these novels that JAMB will tell us to study in English. But we have a lot of them in literature. So you analyze the novel. What are the characters? What's the setting? What's the plot? Okay, what are the themes? The lessons we can learn from the novel. That's what we mean by what? Prose. Then you come to poetry. That is in poems. That's where you have poems written in stanza, you look at it, analyze it. What type of poem is this? Is it a sonnet? You look at it. Then drama. Of course, drama, there are some written drama and there are some acted drama. So they will tell you the one that you will study. I think it's in your JAMB syllabus. You focus on them. Then literary principles. What are the principles? Like when you are narrating a story, what are the strategies or methods? We have the flashback. Like you are in the present, but you are narrating the past. We have the what do they call it? Omniscient narrative. You are not there when it happened, but you are narrating as if you are there. That's omniscient. And so on and so forth. Then literary appreciation. They might tell you to criticize a novel. What are the major characters? What happened to so person? What are the imageries used in this writing? So that's what they do there. Then CRS. Please, for CRS, don't use your doctrine. The church or mosque you are attending. Please leave your doctrine. Just follow the syllabus the way they present it. Follow revised standard version approved by JAMB. Even if you don't like the way they wrote it, please give it to them like that. When you pass your exam, go back to your doctrine. If you use doctrine, what they taught you in church, what your pastor said to go and write CRS, you will fail. So the structure of CRS is Old Testament. So first of all, creation. What was created in first day? What was created in second day? Third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day. What happened on the seventh day? You should know them. So this is where you should arrange them with a code so that you don't forget. Then, from creation to the kingdom, the first king of Israel is Saul. What happened between creation and the kingdom? We are talking of covenant. Study it well. All the covenants involved, name them. Then from kingdom to when kingdom divided. All the kings, till when the kingdom divided under Solomon into southern and northern kingdom. What led to that? You should know it. Then from kingdom division to exile. What happened before exile took place? What was happening when they were in exile? The Babylonian exile, Assyrian exile, all those Persian exile. Study them. Then you come to New Testament. In New Testament now, the Gospels are a must. The four Gospels. 3 of them are synoptic Gospel. That's Matthew, Mark, Luke. Why are they called synoptic Gospel? Because according to JAMB syllabus, they are not necessarily direct eyewitness accounts. Okay? They are not necessarily direct eyewitness accounts. So there are similarities among the 3 of them and there are differences. So study them. Then you now study the eyewitness account, which is John. When you read the way John is writing, he's writing like somebody that is there as it's happening. So John is not a synoptic gospel, he's eyewitness, direct eyewitness. Then Act of Apostles, study it very well, because the author of the Gospel of Luke is the person that wrote Act of Apostles. When you start reading it, you know that it's the one. So study Act of Apostles. What are the things that happen starting from Pentecost, the miracles, the persecution of Christians? Read it. The conversion of Saul to Paul. Then the epistles, especially Pauline letters, the letters written by Paul. What are the lessons we can learn from them? Then the universal letter, the big song, like Peter. So that is what you do in CRS. Very straightforward exam to pass. As long as you don't memorize your doctrine, you will pass. Okay? Then finally, the last slide, our CBT strategy. Please, when you finish listening to this, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, because next class we are using YouTube channel for the class. If you are not subscribed, you will not be able to follow us. So subscribe. Everybody, please subscribe. And if you have any question, okay, you can type your question in the comment section of YouTube, of our YouTube channel. We will attend to it. Or if you find it difficult to do it there, you can come to our official number on Telegram and privately send the question. Okay? Send the question, inbox. We'll answer you. So now, our unique CBT strategy. This is the high point. Now, the way we designed our CBT, we have 25 sets of questions. 25. That's not a joke. It's huge. 25 different questions. Standard question. And it is structured in such a way that you must attempt each twice. So if you attempt the first time, maybe in chemistry you got 90 the first time, you are expected to either get that 90 or you get higher. If you get lower, no problem. So you will now know the mistake you've made. So we have that. Then secondly, after each time you write your CBT, you get a report. So you will enroll in it with your email address. So I would prefer you use your parents' email so that they can also be following what you are doing. So the email, the results will automatically go to the email. Once you finish, they will analyze everything so you see it. Then you will see your corrections. You see your corrections. Now, that's one. So at the end of the day, you will end up solving 50 UTME questions on each of the subjects you are registering. So when you will be enrolling, you will enroll with your number, your name. Don't write your guy name. Your real name, the name you are using to write JAMB. Write it. Your first name and your surname, write it. Then write your, what's it called? Your email. And then what is the next one? Your phone number. Your phone number, your name, and your email. Then your subject combination. So if you are going for medicine, you should be combining biology, physics, chemistry, and English. For engineering and physical sciences, you should be combining maths, physics, chemistry, English. For law, you should be combining English, literature, CRS, government. For any other arts subject, arts discipline related to law, okay, like theater, arts, mass communication, all of them, do the same thing with law. Then for all the management, please don't bother about accounting. If you want to write it for your JAMB, fine. But I don't advise people to write account because account is not easy in JAMB, but you can take your time. So go for subject that will give you advantage. So I advise that they do English, economics, government, and commerce. English, economics, government, and commerce. The reason why you do government is so that if you didn't pass, if you didn't get this cutoff mark for management course, you can divert to the arts courses because of the government. Do you understand? So, but make sure you check your brochure and see the combination that can allow you, if it doesn't work here, it works there. But I don't advise you to do accounting. And in our CBT, we don't have accounting. I intentionally don't want to include it. So please ensure that you do the needful. Don't misregister. Don't register what is wrong. Like when you will pay your money and you are enrolling in our CBT, you now make mistake. Please, there will be no room to change it. So from the beginning, make sure you have written down everything you want to do on a piece of paper. Then you start filling and read before you click. Please, I beg you. Okay, now let me quickly conclude. The first thing is every question we set in our CBT, there are two sets of answers we are looking for. That's the way we prepare you. It's a psychology that will make you beat that scaling that JAMB is doing. For every, you have to get the answer correctly because we did it 50 questions per subject so that it will be over 100 marks. So let's say for question 1 now, you need to get the answer correctly. Then what is the reason for the answer? That answer you have chosen now. Why is that answer correct? What's the principle or reason for that answer? That's the second mark. So you might get the answer, but you didn't get the principle behind it. And two of them have different marks. This one 1 mark, this one 1 mark. So it will make you to study well. So that as you are reading, you pay attention to the reason for each. As you are studying, you pay attention to the reason for each of your answer. Please do that because that's how the CBT is. It's different from all the CBT you have been doing. It's totally different. You are and do our CBT. If you to take part, you need to be to survive done. I was to click the subscribe, click on notification that we are having on YouTube. They forget. We notify you that there is a video because we will be posting videos within the week on different things about JAMB so that you can be watching them. In addition to the live classes we have on Saturdays. So Saturday will be a live class. It's not Telegram we are using for the classes. We just use Telegram today because YouTube insisted that you guys must be up to 50 subscribing to the channel before we can use it to host your program. So all of you that are here, go immediately and subscribe. Then share with your friends that are writing JAMB. That flyer that you saw that brought you here, share with them. Let them join us. They are welcome. And always read the announcement. The announcement is pinned at the top of the page. Read it. You will see information. You will not need to come and be asking when are we starting because it's written there. Every Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Come prepared. Have your writing material. Be ready. Please don't be distracted. Okay? So I expect that after this class, all of you will listen to this video and audio, write down your points, make note. This lesson 1 of 33. The next one will be lesson 2 of 33. And that one will now be dealing with subjects. So we'll be focusing more on the 5 subjects: chemistry, biology, maths, physics, English. The 5 lessons we hold. Please get ready for it. So I expect you to send in your questions after listening to this recording. And then after you have finished your CBT, you will see your explanation for correct answer, like a correction to strengthen your understanding. So thank you. I remain teacher biochemist Emmanuel Ndubisi. It's been a great time with you guys. Hope to see you in next class. Please, let's be punctual so that we'll start on time. God bless you all. I wish you 300 and above in JAM. And I believe that the highest score in JAM 2027 will come from this program. Thank you all. Bye-bye.